So the Prime Minister of Japan is pretty upset with Ubisoft with regards to their newly released Assassin's Creed Shadows game. Let's jump into this now. So what is going on with all this backlash when it comes to Ubisoft's new game, Assassin's Creed Shadows? Well, there's a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be going over as it relates to this particular article here about the Prime Minister of Japan being pretty darn upset with Ubisoft and this newly released game. The game, though, has faced criticism from a vocal minority of gamers regarding two main elements: the inclusion of Yashuki, I believe that's pronounced correctly. If it isn't, please correct me. A real-life black samurai as a playable protagonist, and gameplay footage that depicted the destruction of sacred shrines. Now, Ubisoft has responded to this by clarifying that the Assassin's Creed entire series is a work of fiction inspired by historical events, not a strict historical recreation. So not only is the Prime Minister upset, apparently a member of the House of Councillors is also upset, again expressing concerns about the game's depiction of damaging sacred shrines. Their primary worry apparently is allowing players to destroy these sites in-game, and they feel, I guess, that it might encourage real-life vandalism and despicable behavior, especially given the recent surge in tourism in Japan. And I guess they're thinking that tourists who don't live in Japan might come into Japan after playing this game and do damage to these sites. So according to this article, the Prime Minister has stated that defacing a shrine is an insult to the nation. These concerns echo past debates about potential for video games to incite real-world violence, but how about TV shows and movies and books and things that people hear? Do those, or can those, also incite real-world violence? So the Prime Minister has indicated that the government would consult with relevant ministries to discuss potential legal actions to address the issue. He emphasized the importance of respecting other cultures and stated that actions like these disregard cultural sensitivities and they will not be tolerated. Now, Ubisoft actually has addressed most of these concerns, or at least they think they have. Ubisoft released a day one patch for Assassin's Creed Shadows to mitigate the concerns raised. The patch makes certain objects in shrines indestructible and reduces the amount of visible blood within these areas. The patch also removes blood when the player attacks unarmed NPC civilians. It remains unclear whether this patch is a global release or specifically targeted for the Japanese market. Now, in all honesty, I wish leaders of other countries wanted to preserve cultures as much, seemingly as much at least, as the Prime Minister of Japan. I am from Canada. I don't need to say much more, really, but I wish countries would value their culture and hold on to their culture, because down the road, it will be very, very important. So on some level, I get where the Prime Minister of Japan is coming from, but this is a game and it's fictionalized. So, you know, it's a tough one. So what are your thoughts on this article? Do you think that the Prime Minister actually has a point or not? But more importantly, if you have played Assassin's Creed Shadows, can you please let me know what you think of it? Because, you know, I've read things, saw things, heard things about the game. Some of them are absolutely horrific. You know, they give it like literally a 0 out of 10. It's absolute garbage. And on the other side, there's people who love it. So people love it or hate it. And apparently the sales are okay. Now the sales could, you know, plummet over time. And of course, those sales are a little bit wishy-washy in a way because, you know, I won't get into that stuff. But let me know if you played it. And please let me know if you liked it. I'm sure everyone's interested.